What's up everyone, good afternoon, morning, or evening, whatever time you may be watching. I'm Joe the Film Bro, and welcome to my first Halloween themed review for spooky season. And today, we're talking about the Japanese drama thriller, The Audition. So The Audition tells the story of a widowed man who hasn't quite been himself since the loss of his wife, and cut to 7 years later where he finally wants to get back on his feet. He wants to meet someone to help him get back into the world. But to do that, he enlists the help of his friend who works in the film industry to stage what appears to be an audition for a film that actually doesn't exist. They plan to use the audition process as sort of a dating interview. So almost 30 women sign up for this audition, but one catches the eye of our main character by the name of Asami. So the two meet up and they seem to hit it off a bit. A little too much for our main guy. So much to the point that he plans to propose to her. And after a weekend where the two of them go away together and spend a night together, she disappears. Nowhere to be found, doesn't know where he can find her. So the rest of the movie is about him obsessively trying to look for her, thinking of anything that she had told him that would help him find her. And the more he's on this journey, the more things he actually begins to learn about her. All these things that he never really knew. And while he's on this journey, he's bringing us on this journey. When he's learning stuff, we're learning stuff. And I'm going to get to that in a bit. Overall, I really got into this movie. This had so much to offer. One of the things that this movie does really well at is finding that perfect balance between finding sympathy for our main character and also being disappointed in him. Because on the one hand, the movie gets us to understand why he feels the way he feels. It's been so long since he had lost his wife, and he has a nice life of solidarity with his son, but he looks for a deeper level of intimacy. At least he thinks he does. Because like I said, after she disappears, he becomes obsessed with her, goes to such extremes to try and find her, and again, he hasn't even known her for that long. He plans to propose to her, he tries to find her any way he can. So because of that, you also kind of pity him, that just watching him feel this way and going to all these lengths and becoming, at least on a surface level, involved with her. I'm saying things like this, like he thinks he wants something more with her because he's created this idea of her that's not really her. It's like if Alfred Hitchcock's Vertigo, which went for the more psychological disturbing stuff, also went for the straightforward disturbing imagery as well. And the minute I compared this movie to Hitchcock, it immediately brought it up for me. And part of that is because this movie has such a great critical look at the male gaze, how certain men view women. I mean, his friend who works in the film industry, when they're doing their audition, he's asking all these women, all these, sex-related questions, asking them to do things like show off their bodies, and it's just one of these questions after the other in this audition. Now, our main guy doesn't appear to be like that, but on a deeper level, he kind of is, because he never calls out his friend for asking all these moderately sexist questions. He may not outrightly be behaving like that, but he's still allowing it to happen. And that also plays into Asami's backstory, where we learn all these horrific things that have happened to her throughout her childhood. All the people that she's known, all the adults in her life that have abused her in so many horrific ways. And in a special way, she tries to get him to understand that. And when I say special, I mean graphic. This movie is disturbed and insanely graphic. I had to, put my hand up to the screen because I didn't want to look at what was happening. And that's where the last 30 minutes of this movie comes in. It kind of succumbs to this Eli Roth torture porn style that's just horrific to watch. And they drag it out a lot more than I think they needed to. And one thing that kind of bothered me, actually didn't kind of bother me, it really bothered me, is that they show what's going on. And it wasn't just because what was going on was so horrific and horrendous, but more so this succumbs to what many movies who try to do a torture style scene succumb to. They show too much. Do you remember that scene from Reservoir Dogs when, I think it was it Mr. God, I can't remember who it was, but Mr. Blonde, that's who it was. In that scene when he's playing Stuck in the Middle with You to cutting off that cop's ear. Do you remember how that scene was filmed? They didn't show what was going on. And do you know why? Because when Quentin Tarantino was filming that scene, I believe he filmed a version where they show what's going on and one version where they don't. And when they showed that to test audiences, they reacted more to the scene where they didn't show what was going on. Because that forces the audience to imagine what's happening. It forces your audience to try to picture the most horrific thing that they can imagine. And so by showing what's going on, that makes your audience want to look away from the screen. And that's not as an effective of a reaction. When you don't show what's going on, the person watching has to imagine what terrifies them the most, what grosses them out, what scares them. And that's where the last 30 minutes fails for me. Now, it doesn't fault the rest of the movie, because the rest of the movie is very well made and very well told. What really makes this movie work for me is the intrigue. When he's trying to find her and discovering all these things that she never told him, the audience is along for that ride and they're discovering all these things with him. And that's brilliant. Because when she first disappeared, I was like, wait, come on, we gotta find her. Like, wait, where'd she go? Like, come on, man. We gotta see where she is. Find her. Find her. But as the movie goes on, and the more we learn, and the more disturbed things that we find out, the more I'm like, wait, no. No, I didn't want to know this. Twit sucker, this is what you get. But also, the production design is masterful in this movie and does a great job at making the audience feel what they're supposed to feel. A lot of the sets toward the first half of the movie are very open and bright. Almost kind of makes you feel hopeful for our main character. But as the movie goes on, and like I said, you discover more things about Asami, the sets become more confined and darker, making it feel uncomfortable. Great visual way to get the reaction you want out of your audience. In the end, I'm really glad I checked this out. A really great recommendation that I'm probably not going to get around to watching for a while. If I ever rewatch this, it's not going to be for a while. I don't need to see that last 30 minutes for the rest of my life. But if you're someone who's into mystery and suspense and can stomach disturbing imagery, I would recommend this movie. So, have you seen The Audition? Do you like it, dislike it, middle of the road about it? Do you agree, disagree, or are middle of the road with any of my thoughts? Be sure to drop all that in the comments. Also, don't forget to drop any Halloween movie suggestions in the comments as well. Be sure to show that like button some love. It shows that you've shown the video some love. And if you like more of this content, hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell to know when I post. Thanks for hanging out, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.